Assalamu alaikum. My name is Ahmed, and in this third episode of tutorials on HTML and CSS, we will start looking at some more tags. And to start with, I created this file earlier, and let's open it up in text editor and also open it up in Firefox. So this was our code, and we saw that how what is the role of the doc type that instructs the web browser which mode of HTML to be used for interpreting or translating this page. All HTML documents must have an HTML tag and a closing tag, then a head tag, and head has those tags that are not visible in the viewport of the web browser. This is the viewport of the web browser, this white space. All other tags will go in the head part, and all tags that must have some visible role will go in the body part. So now let's keeping this unchanged, now let's start with some tags. So if I write text directly into this web page, for instance, this is some sample text. Save it, go to the browser, refresh it. This is coming out as just as plain text with no other additional markup. Body is the markup which shows that it will be displayed in the viewport, this part of the body area of the web page, but no other markup. So let's start with headings. HTML has 6 type of heading tags, starting with the most important heading is the H1 tag. Stands for heading 1. Save it, go to the browser, refresh it. You see the text is bold, the text font size has increased enormously. So let's make a copy of this tag and paste it 6 times. H2, H3, H4, H5, H6. And let's copy this text also to show you how it was to appear if in normal mode. Refresh it. So you can see that there are 6 different type of headings. Heading 1, H1, most important, then H2, then H3, H4, H5, H6, and finally text in normal font size. So the choice of which heading to use is not based on the font size. It is basically used on the importance of that text. For instance, that heading of your web page which is the most important should always be in the H1 part, and that heading which is any other heading that is a subheading should always go in H2 and H3, so on and so forth. You may not always need H5 and H6, but you should know that these are defined there and they are present there to make your web page into a proper structure. You should follow this structure. This semantic rule should be followed. So other than using simple text like this, we have a special tag, the paragraph tag, the P tag. This tells the web browser that this part of the text is part of a special paragraph. This paragraph starts here and ends over here. So go back, refresh. Of course the text will appear just as it is. Then other than the paragraph, there are 2 tags which we have already discussed in the first video. The strong tag, save it, go over here, refresh it. So visibly we can see that the text is bold, but that doesn't mean that strong is meant to make the text bold. Strong means to give emphasis to some text, so most emphasis. Then another similar tag is the EM tag, which means emphasis, importance. So if I go over here, refresh it, you see the tag that was marked as strong is bold visibly, and the tag that was marked as EM or emphasis has been made italic. But again, these tags are not for the styling, these are meant for the semantics of the web page. What this page means or the importance of each tag should be, or the usage of each tag should be according to its semantics. What meaning should it convey? So For a general user, we will be interested in the styling, but for computers, for instance search engine, Google will be interested in, for instance, this text for Google is more important than this text because it is in H1. So Google knows that H1 is a major part of that web page. Similarly, some text can be marked as strong and emphasis for search engine and for other computer bots to understand that this part of this page stands for this meaning and this stands for this part. So it's not only about styling. Semantics is very important. Then there are other tags also. For instance, we have the div tag, which stands for the division. And let me paste this text over here. No visible difference will be seen. Then we have the span tag. Save it. Again, no as such visible difference will be seen. There is a difference and that will be covered in some later video. But over here, division means, div or division means just a division. It can be a division of one page to another, not a web page. Just imagine a part of text, a part of a web page, images, anything that can be grouped together. You can use div. Okay, and for instance, I have this division and I have this text in this division. Go back, refresh, and you can see that of course it will output perfectly and this works fine. This is correct. But for instance, if I replace div with the paragraph tag, save it and go back, refresh it, of course visibly you can't see any difference and the browser will ignore everything that is not correct. And syntax wise it is correct, but semantic wise the meaning is ambiguous or it doesn't make any sense. How can a paragraph have another paragraph? So a better approach would be to have two independent paragraphs. For instance, this paragraph followed by this paragraph. This makes more sense. So semantically this is how you should code your web page. So divisions should be used for combining multiple portions of your web page, and paragraph should be used only to represent a paragraph. Strong should only be used to give some importance to a particular text. Similarly, if some text is less important than the strong, emphasis should be used. Similarly, H1, H2, H3 and so on and so forth, these tags should be used. Then HTML also has a few other tags. For instance, what we can do is, for instance, I want to draw a horizontal line. We have the HR tag, the horizontal rule. This line is drawn and it will take the whole width of this web page. Generally all HTML tags can be divided into two groups: those tags which are block level and some tags that are inline. What is the exact difference of these two tags? For instance, all these tags from H1 to H6, all of them are block level tags. That when the text of this heading was finished, the next heading didn't start right over here. It took a new line and occupied this space. Then the next, then the next, and then the next. Okay. So for instance, if I copy this text, paste it here, save it, you see it continues. As soon as this part is finished, the next starts to continue. The span tag we used at the end, basically it's an inline tag. For instance, if I use it inside H4 tag, it will continue and won't take any other line, will not occupy any other line. Whereas strong and emphasis tags were inline tags, and paragraph is naturally a block level tag. So block level tags occupy whole width of the web page regardless of whether that much space is required or not, and inline tags will only occupy that part that is enough for its contents to be occupied. Now before ending this video, we need to understand two more things. For instance, I have a paragraph tag and I don't give anything to it. For instance, let's give it a value of a. This is our line. Okay, now if I don't give any text to it, go back, refresh, carefully observe that the text and this horizontal line, the gap between these two lines. If I refresh this page, you see that this area collapsed. Why? However, we still have the paragraph tag. Why did it did so? Because HTML tags, as a general rule, if they do not have any contents, they will not occupy any space on the web page. But if there is any content, it will occupy the space according to that tag. For instance, paragraph tag is a let's remove this paragraph text from here. Okay, paragraph text is a block level tag. It will occupy the whole line. Save it, refresh it. You see, it is occupying the whole line. The whole area has been occupied. Although and regardless of the size, only A needs to be represented. Now, if I replace this part of the text with emphasis in an inline tag, and all the text, it won't occupy a new line. In fact, this previous line will be continued. Refresh it, you see A came over here. Now at the end, like all other languages, HTML also has a way to comment some text. For instance, in HTML, comments can be given by opening this tag, exclamation mark, and two hyphen signs. Now this tells the web browser that this part of the text has been commented. Do not interpret it. Do not try to run this code. And at any point where we want to close this, we just have to say the double hyphen and the greater than sign. Go back, refresh, you see H3, H4, H5, these three lines were commented. So browser, although this is present in the source code, but it will not be interpreted. It won't have any weightage. So H1, H2 and then H6, 3, 4, 5 all have been skipped.